Hello everyone, ARG back with some more Franchise Hockey Manager 9, and it has been a second since I played this game. I've been busy. I've also been playing other games. As much as I like the game, and I really do, sometimes it feels like the game sucks my soul away. And we're pretty much at the junction where I feel that way with the game. Um, I've made it clear I'm not too happy with you know Paul Coffey. Paul Coffey was before I wasn't before I saw Nick Lidstrom play. Paul Coffey was my favorite player when I was a kid. When I started to watch hockey, Paul Coffey was pretty much in his prime, and he was a beauty to see, And I went out of my way, and I got Paul Coffey. Like the next step for me would be to go ahead and get Nick Lidstrom, right? And the game keeps hindering him like over and over and over again, and it's like, man, I cannot catch a break. So yeah, it's annoying. I know it's part of the game and everything, and injuries happen and everything, but I'm kind of living my little child version of me's little dream here by acquiring Paul Coffey, and I cannot play him. But anyway, so today is February of 1984, and as is customary for me in February, we have the list over there under open offers of the players that I'm trying to bring back. I do not have that many players that have an expiring contract this year. Do have a couple important players, but the volume of players that need a contract extension is not that big. So I'm bringing back Lawless, Schmidt, and Carlson are there for depth only. They still have a full star of potential, so I'm like, roll the dice and gamble away, and we'll figure it out. Of course, Mark Messier, Glenn Anderson, and Bo Berglund are a little bit more fixtures of the team. Messier, Anderson, and Berglund all asked for 3-year deals, and Berglund absolutely wanted a no-trade clause. I gave it to him. I'm like, why not? So now I have two right-wingers with no-trade clauses. Wilf Payment is one, and now Bo Berglund also has a no-trade clause. So my right side, at least half of my right side, seems to be pretty much set in stone, at least for the next 3 years. As far as the Whalers do, we are first in the conference. We have a very, very good 34-15-1 record. Doing pretty good in that regard. And that's pretty much it. We're going to play February. In real life, today is May 2nd. The second round of the NHL playoffs are going. And as a surprise to pretty much everybody in the world of hockey, the Toronto Maple Leafs moved past the first round. The last time that the Toronto Maple Leafs won a hockey round prior to this year, I still had not moved to the States, and I moved 18 years ago. I was a young man back then. Now, of course, I'm old, but back then, I was young. So, yeah, and then, of course, Seattle beating Colorado, right? I'm not sure that a lot of people saw that happening. I didn't, although I did. In my bracket, I did say that Colorado was going to win in 7. I never thought that it was going to be easy for Colorado. They had some injuries and everything. So it could have gone both ways. Other than that, the Devils moved past the Rangers. Again, I thought the Rangers would win because they had a little bit more experience, a little bit more of an experienced team over the young Devils. So I thought that maybe the experience would kick in. But no, the Devils pulled through. Other than that, I was right on every other series. So those are the 3 series I got wrong. I I thought that Boston would beat I thought that Tampa Bay would beat Toronto, and I thought that Colorado would beat Seattle, and I thought that the Rangers would beat the Devils. So, not too bad. I mean, I'm not an expert. But anyway, alright, so enough fucking rambling, right? It's like, shut the fuck up already and get started, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. Alright, so we are starting the month in Detroit against the Red Wings, and it's today. We played Detroit once this year. It was in Detroit as well, and we trounced them 10-0 at the Jewelry Arena. We're playing on the road again. They're probably scared or something. Red Wings are 24-23-4, so let's get going. Let's get some cool Hartford Whalers action. Mark Messier and Anton Stastny are hurt long term, but they are both playable injuries, so they are going to play through it. Paul Coffey, of course, has a fractured skull. I'm tempted to make him play with it regardless, but the game won't let me. So, all right, so let's go. Alright, so Jim Martinson is going to be in net for the Whalers for this first game of the stream. Al Jensen, our former goaltender, is going to be in net for the Red Wings. And of course, go Whalers, go. Wait, was Al Jensen? No, it was Al Smith, right? Yeah, I got that wrong. I don't think Al Jensen played for me. Sorry, it's been a minute since I played. And we ended up losing 6-3 first game of the stream. Actually, Martinson didn't finish the game. Steve Weeks came in, so we lost 6-3 in Detroit to get started. We were outshot 41-29. John Ogrodnik, first of the game, 2 goals and an assist. Dale McCourt, the second star, with a goal and an assist. And Fergus was the third star with a goal and an assist. Red Wings scored first in the first. Then Wilf Payment scored unassisted. Then 3 Red Wings goals before Russ Fitzpatrick scored from Brettel and Marian Stastny. It was 4-2 Detroit after 1. Detroit added another goal in the second period, made it 5-2. Then in the third period, Glenn Anderson scored his 20th from Peter Stastny and Jay Wells. It was 5-3. And then Detroit added a goal in an empty net. It's a 6-3 loss. Oh, all those contracts have been signed. Open Ice leads to a productive night for Craig Artsberg. Oh, wow, Craig Artsberg, 4-star defenseman. He got 4 assists against Pittsburgh. Craig Artsberg coached the Ottawa Senators for like 5 minutes about 15 years ago or 12 years ago, something like that. Bobby Smith extends his assist streak to 8 games. He had an assist against the Pittsburgh Penguins in that same game. All right, the owner is... All right, so he thinks the season is successful so far and the team has played very well. We need to win right now. If you need to sacrifice the future for that to happen, do it. Ooh, the message is changing here. Looking farther out, we should be a contender next year. The fans are thrilled. No need to worry about your job. Everybody's happy in Hartford. Right, Glenn Anderson signed. Bo Berglund signed. Anders Carlson signed. Mark Messier signed. Norm Schmidt signed. He's a 1-star potential and he's a defenseman, so it's almost an automatic. And Paul Lawless also signed, again, a star potential, so why not? Well, we're going to take a flyer on him, and we'll reevaluate after that. We'll see if he's worthy of another contract. Alright, so we have a 2-day break, and then we're going to play in St. Louis against the Blues. Right, Charles Luxa has been put on waivers by the Canucks. Right, bad news for New York. Don Maloney, or sorry, I'm looking at the quality of my stream. My internet went down overnight and everything, so I always have to kind of double check to make sure that, you know, my face doesn't go like. All right, so Don Maloney, or oh, a fractured eye socket. That's bad. 4 months. Dennis Marouk extends his point streak to 13 games. He had a goal and an assist against the Devils, and that was 13 straight with an assist for him. Denis Savar's assist streak ended at 9 games. In that same game, he did get a goal, but no assist for him. Tim Kerr extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had a goal against the Montreal Canadiens. I think those players are feeling more acclimated to the team. I would appreciate for Anders Carlson to feel acclimated. I just gave him a contract, so feel at home, buddy. You're there for like 3 more years. Alright, so those players are on waivers. Mike Toll, Mark Curtin, Ron Carter, and Reg Thomas. I am not claiming nobody. Dino Ciccarelli extends his assist streak to 8 games. He had an assist against the Buffalo Sabres. Bobby Smith in that same game extended his assist streak to 9 games, also an assist for him. Memorable night for Mike Gartner. He had a hat-trick against the Montreal Canadiens. Dennis Marouk in that same game extended his point streak to 14 games with 2 assists, and that was 14 straight game with an assist as well. And Calgary might be entertaining offers for Kent Nilsson. Ooh, Kent Nilsson has been put on the block by the Flames. Alright, we are about to play in St. Louis. Blues are actually almost as good as us. They are 33-19-2. We are 1-0 against the Blues. We won 6-3 at home. Let's see if we can beat them on the road as well. Jim Martinson is going to be in net for the Whalers. Mike Liut in net for the Blues. Of course, go Whalers go. We have a depleted lineup. Like 3 of our best players are either playing hurt or not playing at all. And we still won 7-4. Oh, that wasn't a goaltender duel at all. So the score is 7-4, right? The shots were 23-18 for us, so nobody in net looked good in that game. Russ Fitzpatrick, however, was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals and an assist. Darren Veitch was the second star with 2 goals and an assist, and Brent Sutter was the third star with a goal and an assist. Lots of goals scored in the first period. Blues scored first, then Russ Fitzpatrick from Wolf Payment and Matty Hagman, then Brent Sutter from Mark Messier and Ken Morrow. It was 2-1. Then the Blues tied the game, but we scored 3 more goals. Darren Veitch scored his 5th from Marian Stastny and Gordy Roberts. Then Russ Fitzpatrick scored his 15th from Marian Stastny and Mark Messier. Then Darren Veitch from Anton Stastny and Brent Sutter. 5-2 the score after 1 for the Whalers. We also had some good old-fashioned face punching. Rick Lapointe and Randy Coneyworth, and then Dwayne Sutter and Wolf Payment. That was a lot of fisticuffs, I think is the word. Alright, Blues scored in the second period, made it 5-3, but then Jay Wells scored from Russ Fitzpatrick and Rob Ramage, 6-3 Hartford after 2. In the third period, the Blues scored again, came to within 2, but with 7 seconds left to go in the game, in an empty net, Glenn Anderson scored from Darren Veitch, and that was a 7-4 victory for the Waiters in that one. And Randy Coneyworth is hurt. Mark Messier plays on the 4th line because of his injury. He can barely tie his skates or something. And now Randy Coneyworth is hurt. Oh, I can make him play hurt like Anton Stastny and Mark Messier. Why not have my entire left side play with injuries? Yes, I don't even know what your injury is. You're playing with it. A fractured vertebrae in the neck. Well, it was good for Andrew Cogliano for like what, a period or something. If it's good for Andrew Cogliano, it's good for Randy Coneyworth. You are going to play with a broken neck, sir. This is the 80s. Or 2023, I mean. So just to settle the score here, okay. Yes, I think Jordan Emberley should have been suspended. That was a 30th. No, I don't think that Eberle is usually a dirty but the play was bad, and that warranted a suspension. That is my opinion, and I will stand by it. Also, my opinion is that the Colorado doctors are fucking morons if you send back a player with a broken neck to play an NHL game in the playoffs. That is also my opinion, and I will stand by it. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and advance one day. Alright, so look at us. So Paul Coffey has a fractured skull. Randy Coneyworth has a broken neck. Mark Messier, what are you playing with, Mark? Oh, it doesn't want for me to. Okay. Oh, a severe ear cut. That's nothing. That's nothing. You're the one that's got it easy so far. Oh my god, it doesn't want to. A broken Matthew bone for Anton Stashny. So we have some broken bones. Oh, that's beautiful. All right, Tim Kerr lights the lamp. He had 3 goals and 2 assists against the Bruins. And that was 6 straight games with a goal for him. Strong night from Mike Bossy. He had 3 goals and an assist against Pittsburgh. And Ray Bourque extended with the Bruins 4 years. And now we are in Chicago to play against the Blackhawks. Who is going to get some broken bones that we can let them play with? I am very curious. The Chicago Blackhawks are 18-31-6. That's not very good. We are 2-0 against Chicago this season, including a 9-1 win and a 5-0 victory. So combined, we have beaten them 14-1 this season. So let's go ahead and continue the massacre now, shall we? I'm curious to see what they're doing. So Matty Agman plays on the first line by default, only because he's the only left winger that's not hurt. And then we have everybody limping their way through the lineup from there. Steve Weeks is going to be in net for the Waiters. Murray Bannerman in net for Chicago. And of course, go Waiters, go. We lost 6-1. The very injured Hartford Whalers dropped a game in Chicago 6-1. We were outshot 29-18. Tim Higgins was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Bill Garner was the second star with 2 assists. And Ray Ferraro was the third star with a goal and an assist. Maybe I should go and get Ray Ferraro. He played for the Whalers for a while. All right, Chicago scored twice in the first period. Then in the second period, they added 2 more goals. And then in the third period, Gordy Roberts scored from Peter Stastny and Tommy Samuelson, made it 4-1, and then Chicago added 2 more goals. We lost 6-1. We also had a fight between Terry Ruskowski and Randy Coneyworth with his broken neck. Went and got into a fight. That's probably very smart. And, we lost 6-1. Alright, Chicago's bully is suspended. I did see that he had, I think, a boarding call against us, so he's going to miss 4 games. Brian Propp extends his goal streak to 5 games, 2 goals and an assist against the Buffalo Sabres. Dino Ciccarelli's assist streak ended at 8 games against the Devils. He did get a goal, but did not get an assist. Bobby Smith did extend his assist streak in that same game. That's 10 for him, with an assist in that game. Good game for Bob Bourne with the Islanders. 3 goals and 2 assists against Pittsburgh. I'm good. How are you? Great night for Rigel Ristolainen. He had 4 assists against Pittsburgh. And welcome aboard. Memorable night for Eddie Johnston. 3 goals here against the Winnipeg Jets. Mark Howe has a good game. He had a goal and 4 assists against the Washington Capitals. Now our former defenseman Mark Howe with a good game. Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Just off work. How about your day? Strong game for Blair McDonald. In that same game, he had a hat trick. Dennis Maruk extended his point streak to 15 games with 2 goals and an assist against the Oilers in that same game, and that's 15 straight games with an assist for him as well. We have a day off, and then we're going to be hosting the Detroit Red Wings. Alright, well, that's good. That's good. Alright, the Olympic Games starts today. Alright, so... Oh, am I losing some players due to that? No. I am not. It doesn't look like, at least. Alright, so Detroit in town now. They are now 27, 23, and 4. Oh, they've been winning some games. I do not. I do not stream daily. I have a very busy schedule. So I squeeze an hour or two here and there. That's pretty much the extent of it. Alright, so we did lose our last game against Detroit. It was the 6-3 loss at the start of the stream here. We're going to try to avenge that. And we have a nice 4-game homestead here, so we're going to try to take advantage of that. Alright, so let's see here. We have Al Jensen in net for the Red Wings. I prefer RPG games or sports simulation games or strategy games usually. Alright, so Al Jensen in net, Jim Martinson in net for the Whalers. Of course, go Whalers, go. We've started a little bit kind of a up and down for the Mount, of course. You know, we have so many injuries. And it's a 4-4 tie. Alright, so Hartford outshot Detroit 41-40 in that game, in that 4-4 tie. Wolf Payment was the first star of the game. He had a goal and 2 assists. John Ogrodnik was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Marian Stashny was the third star with an assist. 9,668 people are in attendance for this game. Oh, I'm in the US. Alright, so Detroit scored first in the first period, then Matty Hagman scored on a power play from Gordy Roberts and Darren Veitch, then Detroit took the lead again, and then we tied the game again, Peter Stashny from Marian Stashny and Wolf Payment, 2-2 after 1. Then in the second period, the Red Wings scored. It was 3-2 Detroit after 2. Dave Poulin and Jim Korn got into a fight. Oh, yeah, it's close to midnight where you're from, or something like 11:30 or something, 10:30, 11:30, something like that. All right, then in the third period, the Red Wings scored, made it 4-2. Then Wolf Payment scored unassisted, and then Gordy Roberts scored from Wolf Payment and Jay Wells. It was 4-4. We went to overtime. Nobody scored, although we did have. Oh yeah, I have a job. Alright, Dave Poulin got into a fight with Pete Maravlich. So, yeah. And nobody scored in overtime, obviously. So it's a 4-4 tie against the Red Wings. We'll take the point, but again, we're kind of not doing much of anything. Alright, and in that game, John Ogrodnik extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had a goal and an assist against us. Oh, well, I had to do that too in my life, where I had to do both working and studying at the same time. It sucks. don't know that I'm qualified to do that. I don't know what you do. Alright, so let's see here. 3 days. We have 3 days off here. Hey Kel, what's up? Great night for Ray Ferraro. I like Ray Ferraro. 4 goals and an assist against the Kings. Yeah, he indeed had a good game. André Saint-Laurent is back from suspension for the Kings, back in the lineup. Danny Gare is starting it. No, he's coming back from suspension as well. Willie Plett extends his assist streak to 8 games. He had an assist against the Red Wings. Denis Marouk's point streak ended at 15 games. Did not get a point against the Flames, so obviously his assist streak is also over. Ryan Walters' assist streak ended at 8 games. Did not get a point in that same game against the Flames. All right. All right, so we have 2 more days left before we play the Flames. Alright, so Willie Plett's assist streak ended at 8 games. He's not getting a point against the Leafs. Good night for Pierre Larouche, who had 5 assists against the New Jersey Devils. John O'Grotnick extends his... Oh, they're all playing hurt. So 3 out of my 4 left wingers are playing with injuries. Randy Coneyworth is playing with a broken neck, and he got into a fight the very next game. There you go. That's 80s hockey for you. At this point, I just think it's comical. I also have Paul Coffey that's out for the remainder of the season with a fractured skull. John O'Grotnick extends his goal streak to 6 games with a goal and an assist against Pittsburgh. Great night for Dino Ciccarelli, 3 goals and 2 assists against the Rangers. That was 12 straight games with a point for him. Bobby Smith in that same game did extend his assist streak to 11 games with a goal and 3 assists. Rick Vive is suspended in Vancouver. He's going to miss 9 games. Oh my god, what did he do? Bobby Clark extends his point streak to 12 games. He had an assist against the Oilers. So are you excited, Kill? Are you excited for tonight? I bet you are. I bet you're excited. I am so rooting for the Panthers in that series. I am with you 100%. I also think you're gonna win. I think that the Leafs players are gonna be so sick and tired of seeing Matthew Tkachuk. They're probably gonna start doing stupid shit. That's what I think. Alright, Bobby Smith sticks with Minnesota. Oh, he extended. So Bobby Smith signed a 2-year extension with the North Stars. Ooh, Wayne Gretzky extended in Edmonton. So all of you thought that maybe I could get him as a free agent. Well, I can't. 2-year extension. Steve Jensen has been put on the block by the Kings. And then there's been a trade between the Oilers and the Islanders because the Oilers and Islanders make 2 trades a month in my save. Ken Leiter for Scott McClellan and the rights to Rick Vasco. Well, it's very subjective. It depends on what you look at, right? But if you're looking at just the points, I didn't check that. I'm gonna check after I'm done with my stream. I'm sorry. I don't want to like be distracted too much with side stuff. All right. We are now going to be hosting the Calgary Flames. Flames are in town. They are 16-33-5. Not good. Not a good season in Calgary. That might be why they're offering Kent Nilsson up for trade. Okay. All right, so we lost in Calgary 7-4. It was a 7-4 loss. So that was in Calgary. We're in town now. We're in Hartford. Hopefully we can win this game. Let's go. All right. Dan Bouchard is in net for the Flames. Jim Martinson is in net for the Waiters. And of course, go Waiters, go. Come on, we kind of need to bounce back here. No, we lost 4-1. We have too many injuries, man. We just can't get over the hump. Hartford outshot Calgary 39-31. Eric Vale was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Dan Bouchard was the second star with 38 saves. And Paul Reinhardt was the third star with 2 goals. 10,218 people in attendance for the game. Nobody scored in the first period. And in the second period, the Flames scored 3 times. It was 3-0 Calgary after 2. Then in the third period, the Flames scored, made it 4-0. And then Marian Stastny avoided the embarrassment of a shutout for us with his 5th of the season from Ray Neufeld and Brent Sutter. A 4-1 loss. We're not doing too good. Alright, so Derek Smith has been put on waivers by the Islanders. Dino Ciccarelli extends his point streak to 13 games. He had an assist against the Red Wings. John Ogrodnik extends his goal streak to 7 games. He had a goal against the Minnesota North Stars. Bobby Smith extends his point streak to 12 games. He had an assist in that same game. That was 12 straight games with an assist from. No one could stop René Robert with the Devils. He had a hat trick against Pittsburgh. Denis Savard in that same game had 4 assists for also a pretty good game. Brian Sutter extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal and 3 assists against the Blackhawks. Bobby Clark extends his point streak to 13 games with a goal and an assist against the Washington Capitals. There's no stopping Peter Thorson. He had 3 goals and an assist in the Olympics. Aldrich Valek has a great game as well. And then there was a trade between the Islanders and the Canadiens. Charlie Lundin for Régent Vignola and René Badeau. Another small trade. So, Kel, is anybody bringing you to a Panthers playoff game? All right, Edmonton in town, they are 36-15-6. That's a pretty good record. We are 1-0 against the Oilers. We did win in Edmonton 4-2 earlier this season, so let's go ahead and see if we can beat them. More than likely, probably not, because we are suffering too many injuries. Yuri Sira in net for the Oilers. Steve Weeks in net for the Waiters. Go, Waiters, go. Come on, we need some W's here. Oh, we won 9-4. That's one thing I never did, is I never went live to a playoff game. It must be pretty freaking awesome. We were outshot 54-31 in that game. Dave Poulin was the first star of the game. He had 3 goals and an assist. Anton Stastny was the second star with 3 assists. And Glenn Anderson was the third star with 2 goals and an assist. 11,027 people in attendance for the game. Oilers scored first in the first period. Then Marian Stastny scored from Rob Ramage and Tommy Samuelson. Then Dave Poulin scored his 25th unassisted. Then Brent Sutter scored from Randy Coneyworth and Bo Berglund. 3-1 Hartford. Then the Oilers scored. It was 3-2 Hartford after 1. And in the second period, Peter Stastny scored from Matty Agman. It was 4-2. Then the Oilers scored. It was 4-3. Glenn Anderson scored unassisted, made it 5-3. Then the Oilers came back to within 1. And then Dave Poulin scored again from Anton Stastny and Wilf Payment. It was 6-4 Hartford after 2. And we added 3 more goals in the third period. Glenn Anderson from Matty Agman and Darren Veitch. Then Greg Taberge scored his 5th from Dave Poulin and Anton Stastny. And then Dave Poulin from Glenn Anderson and Anton Stastny. 9-4 the final score. And a little fight at the end of the game. Jay Wells and Dave Hunter with 4 seconds left to go. Not sure why they fought, but hey, you know. Oh, and right after that game, the Oilers sent down Yuri Serra on waivers. And then Craig Laughlin, who was picked up by Montreal after that I let him go, is also on waivers in case that I wanted him back, which I do not. Strong night for Dave Poulin. As we say, he had 3 goals and an assist. Excellent passing leads to productive night for Kent Nilsson. He had a goal and 4 assists against the Blackhawks. Bobby Clark extends his point streak to 14 games. He had a goal against the Vancouver Canucks. John Ogrodnik extends his goal streak to 8 games with 2 goals against the Jets. And trade between Edmonton and Montreal. Stuart Gavin and Steve Carlson are going to Montreal for Bob Sauvé and Brian Engel. Oh, dear God. Montreal got fleeced. Oh, God. Yeah, they did. Now, Stu Gavin shows with, 3.5 star and everything, but Stu Gavin was like an enforcer. Like, he's having a decent season, too. Oh, I'm not looking at the right guy. But, yeah, he's having a decent season, too. And he doesn't look like he's that much of an enforcer in the save. So maybe he's deviating from his true self in real life. Alright, we are going to advance one day, and then we are going to... We're going to read news. Alright, so Dino Ciccarelli extends his point streak to 14 games. He had an assist against the Washington Capitals. Bobby Smith extends his point streak to 13 games. He had 2 goals in that same game. Bobby Smith's assist streak did end at 12 games, so because he got the 2 goals and no assists. Big game for Sergei Makarov, 3 goals and 2 assists in the Olympics, and excellent passing leads to productive night for Vladimir Krutov, also in the Olympics, a goal and 4 assists. That's pretty good. Right, we're hosting Montreal. They are 25, 27, and 7. That is good for 5th in the conference. We are 2-4 against Montreal this season, so despite us being at the top of the conference, we have struggled against the Habs. Greg Stefan is going to be in net for the Montreal Canadiens. Jim Martinson is going to be in net for us. Of course, go Whalers, go! Come on! We lost 6-4. That was our last game of the homestead that we were on, and we got outshot 39-29. Who's that guy? Terry Martin was the first star of the game. He had a goal and 2 assists. Matty Agman was the second star with 2 assists, and Guy Lafleur was the third star with a goal and 2 assists. 9,095 people in attendance for the game. Montreal scored twice in the first period. And then there was a fight between Russ Fitzpatrick and Rod Langway. The second period, Dave Poulin scored on the power play from Bo Berglund and Peter Stastny. I think that's the first point for Peter Stastny this month or something. I really haven't said his name very often. And then Montreal scored twice. It was 4-1 Montreal after 2. Then in the third period, Montreal scored, made it 5-1. Then Bo Berglund scored from Brent Sutter and Matty Agman. Rob Ramage scored his 5th from Glenn Anderson and Dave Poulin. Then Peter Stastny from Tommy Samuelson and Matty Agman. 5-4 Montreal. And then Montreal added a goal in an empty net, made it 6-4. We lost. Oh well. Ted Bully is back from suspension. Back in the lineup for the Blackhawks. Minnesota Artsberg is suspended. He's going to miss 4 games. Dino Ciccarelli extends his point streak to 15 games. He had a goal against the Maple Leafs. Bobby Smith's point streak ended at 13 games. He did not get a point. Big game for Yuri Lala. That's an interesting name. Yuri Lala had 6 assists in an Olympic game. And John Ogrodnik extended with Detroit 2 more years. All right, New Jersey Devils. We are in New Jersey to play the Devils. Devils are 25, 28, and 5. They are 7th in the conference. We are 2-0 against the Devils. Of course, prior to being the Devils, they were the Colorado Rockies. And we historically had a good record against them, I believe. Jim Martinson in net for us. Wayne Stevenson in net for the Devils. Go, Whalers, go. 4-3 overtime win. We're going to take it. We haven't won all that much this month. All right, we outshot the Devils 46-29. Dave Poulin was the first star of the game. He had an assist. Mike Pavlich was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Wolf Payment was the third star with a goal. That's not in Hartford, so we don't care. Wolf Payment opened up the scoring in the first from Brent Sutter and Dave Poulin. Then Peter Stastny scored his 40th of the season from Glenn Anderson and Greg Tavares. 2-0 Hartford at that point. New Jersey did score 2-1 after 1. Then in the second period, New Jersey scored twice to take the lead. It was 3-2. We had a fight between Ron Delorme and Wolf Payment. Then Russ Fitzpatrick sent both teams to overtime, assisted by Darren Veitch and Mark Massey. It was 3-3, and then he also scored in overtime unassisted. So he scored the tying goal and the game-winning goal. That's a 4-3 victory for the Whalers. Wolf Payment scored his 300th goal of his career in that game, so that was against the New Jersey Devils. Wolf Payment is 28 years old. He's still a 3.5-star player. Marcel Dion scored his 500th goal of his career with a goal and an assist against Washington. Marcel Dion is 32 and he is a 3.5-star player. Stan Schmil lights the lamp in that same game. He had 3 goals and an assist. And Bobby Clark extends his point streak to 15 games with 2 assists against the Blues. Alright, we have a day off and then we're going to be in Toronto to play against the Leafs. Dino Ciccarelli extends his point streak to 16 games with a goal and 3 assists against the Buffalo Sabres. What will Chicago do with Greg Shepherd? Well, they're going to put him on the trading block. And then Montreal is offering us Dan Newman for Stuart Smith. And I'm going to say no thank you. Alright, in Toronto to play the Leafs. Leafs are 29, 24, and 6. We are 1-0 against the Leafs this season. I'm going to beat them, hopefully. Jim Martinson in net for us. Rob Holland in net for the Leafs. And of course, go Whalers go. A 6-2 road victory. There you go. We're getting some W's now. We outshot Toronto 32-21. Dave Poulin was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Russ Fitzpatrick was the second star with 2 goals. And Brettel was the third star with 2 assists. 16,000. Oh, that's in Toronto again. We don't care. I don't know what's wrong with me today. Alright, Glenn Anderson opened up the scoring in the first from Brettel and Peter Stastny. 1-0 Hartford after 1. Then in the second period, our former player Tapio Levo scored for Toronto, tied the game. Then Peter Stastny scored from Glenn Anderson and Greg Tavares. Then Wolf Payment from Anton Stastny, 3-1 Hartford at that point. Toronto scored, made it 3-2. And then Russ Fitzpatrick scored from Marian Stastny and Brettel, 4-2 Hartford after 2. And we added 2 more goals in the third period. Russ Fitzpatrick from Dave Poulin, and then Brent Sutter scored short-handed. That was also his 25th from Jay Wells and Dave Poulin. 6-2 the final score. Nice game here in Toronto. And then very next day we are in Buffalo. So that's a busy stretch here. Big game for Yari Curry, who scored a hat-trick against the Blackhawks. Dino Ciccarelli's point streak ended at 16 games. Yeah, couldn't get a point against the Nordiques. Reggie Leach has scored 400 goals in his career, a goal and an assist against the New Jersey Devils. Bobby Clark extends his point streak to 16 games with an assist against the Devils. Vladimir Krutov lights the lamp. He had a hat-trick in the Olympics. And he won the MVP. Best goalie was Vladislav Tretiak. The best defenseman was Vyacheslav Fetisov. Best forward, Sergei Makarov. And USSR wins the Olympic Games. So it was all USSR. They won everything. And of course it's 1984, so it's not Russia, it's USSR. Alright, let's see here. So we are in Buffalo to play the Sabres. They are 24, 34, and 2. That's good for 9th in the conference. We are 4-0 against the Sabres. We have not lost a single point even against them. We won every single game. Let's hope that we can make it 5-0. Steve Weeks is going to be in net for the Whalers. Jacques Cloutier in net for the Buffalo Sabres. And of course, go Whalers, go! Another 6-2 victory, so back-to-back road games, back-to-back 6-2 victories. I like that. Consistency. We outshot Buffalo 31-28. Wilf Payment was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Peter Stastny was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Brent Sutter was the third star, also with a goal and an assist. Buffalo scored first in the first period, then Peter Stastny scored from Wilf Payment and Rob Ramage, and Wilf Payment scored his 15th from Ken Morrow and Peter Stastny. 2-1 Hartford at that point, and then Buffalo tied the game. It was 2-2 after 1. And in the second period, Darren Veitch scored on a power play from Gordy Roberts and Russ Fitzpatrick. Then Brent Sutter scored from Matty Agman and Marian Stastny, 4-2 after 2. And in the third period, Marian Stastny scored from Ray Neufeld and Ken Morrow. And then finally, Glenn Anderson scored his 25th from Brent Sutter and Dave Poulin. 6-2 victory for the Whalers. Alright, so Tom Eder has been put on waivers by the Red Wings. Suspension for Hartford's Anderson. Oh, Anderson got suspended. He's going to miss 2 games. That's not good. Peter Stastny extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal and an assist against Buffalo. So I was saying that I was never saying his name, and look at him now. That's all I needed to do. Complain about him at all. Memorable night for Mike Eves. He had a hat-trick against the Devils. Ryo Ristolainen extends his assist streak to 8 games. He had an assist against the Devils. In that same game, Denis Savard had 4 assists. That's also pretty good. Bobby Clark extended his point streak to 17 games with an assist against the Rangers. Denis Marouk has recorded 300 goals with a goal and 2 assists against the Winnipeg Jets. Ryan Walter extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal and an assist in that same game. And Montreal is offering us garbage, probably. Oh, look at that. That's the exact same trade that they offered me a few days ago. I wonder what I'm going to say this time. Let's see. Am I on crack? No. So I'm going to say no. There you go. Right, we have 3 days off, and then Buffalo's going to be in town to play against us. Steve Shutt reaches 400 goals in his career with a goal against Toronto. Steve Shutt is 31 years old and he is a 3-star player. Bobby Clark's point streak ended at 17 games. He was unable to get a point against Buffalo. And dynamic passing leads to productive night for Phil Russell in Quebec City. He had 4 assists against the Montreal Canadiens. Suspension for Detroit's Korn. He's going to miss 6 games. Suspension over for Artsburg in Minnesota, back in the lineup. And strong night for Brad Park in Boston. 3 goals and an assist against the LA Kings. Oh, the LA Kings managed to make it to 10 wins this season. They are terrible. Well, they might be good here, so yeah, I mean, those guys can play hurt. They're going to have to. One of them is going to have to. Alright, Buffalo in town, 24, 36, and 2 now. We just played them, literally. And they are now 10th in the conference. We are 5-0. Let's make it 6-0 against them. I love the sound of it. Jacques Cloutier is in net for Buffalo. Jim Martinson's in net for the Whalers. And of course, go Whalers, go. A 5-4 loss. Oh, yikes. We were outshot badly, 43-15 in that one. Danny Gare was the first star of the game. 2 assists. Randy Cunningworth was the second star with 2 assists. And Keith Acton was the third star with a goal and an assist. 9,984 people in attendance for the game. Alright, so yeah, Buffalo scored first in the first period, then Dave Poulain scored from Bo Berglund and Randy Cunningworth, then Marian Stachny scored from Gordy Roberts and Jay Wells. 2-1 Hartford after one. Then in the second period, Brettel scored from Brent Sutter and Randy Cunningworth, made it 3-1. Then Buffalo scored, it was 3-2 Hartford after two. We also had a fight between Gordy Roberts and Mario Foba. Then in the third period, Buffalo tied the game, and then we took the lead again. Peter Stachny from Matty Agman and Wolf Payment, but then Buffalo scored 2 goals before the end of the period, and they ran away with a 5-4 victory. Yeah, we were not in that game very much. Alright, Peter Stachny extends his goal streak to 6 games with that goal against Buffalo, and Rigel Rustalainen extends his assist streak to 9 games with an assist against the St. Louis Blues. Alright, we have a day off, and then we're going to be playing against the Philadelphia Flyers. Alright, so Aureliu is on waivers. Paul Gagne extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had a goal and 2 assists against the Edmonton Oilers. Prolific passing night for Wayne Gretzky. He had 4 assists against the Flames in that same game. Brian Mullen lights the lamp for the Kings. He had 3 goals and an assist against the Canucks. John Garrett has been put on the block, our old pal. Now, that one is our old pal for sure, I know. So, John Garrett has been put on the block. Bob Freeze has been put on the block in St. Louis as well. Dennis Ververgaard has been put on the block as well. And then Montreal and Edmonton made yet another trade. Glenn Ely for Neil... Oh, Montreal got fleeced again by the Oilers. Like, they got this Neil Aureliu guy that they've put on waivers, but they let Glenn Ely go to Edmonton. So they gave Edmonton Bob Sauvé and Glenn Ely. That's like a starter and backup, like right there for very little. Montreal is slipping. I'm telling you, Montreal is slipping. All right, we are hosting the Flyers. Flyers are 38-22-1. That's good for second in the conference. They are the leaders of their own division. We are 1-1 against the Flyers this season. Alright, so let's go ahead and play here. Pete Peters is going to be in net for Philadelphia. Steve Weeks is going to be in net for the Oilers. And of course, go Oilers, go. A 6-6 tie in Hartford against the Flyers. Shots were pretty even. We were outshot 35-33. Darren Veitch was the first star of the game. He had a goal and 2 assists. Tim Kerr was the second star with a goal and 3 assists. And Russ Fitzpatrick was the third star with 2 goals and an assist. 10,024 people in attendance for the game. Russ Fitzpatrick scored his 20th of the season from Matty Agman and Greg Theberge. Then Darren Veitch from Bo Berglund and Dave Poulain. Then Flyers scored, made it 2-1. Then Dave Poulain scored his 30th from Darren Veitch and Gordy Roberts. Then the Flyers scored twice. It was 3-3 after one. Then in the second period, Flyers made it 5-3. Then Russ Fitzpatrick scored from Greg Theberge. Then the Flyers scored again. It was 6-4 Flyers after 2. Randy Cunningworth scored in the third period from Dave Poulain and Bo Berglund. And then Brett Hull from Darren Veitch and Russ Fitzpatrick. It was tied at 6 after 3, and then no score in the overtime, obviously, but we did have a fight. Randy Cunningworth, with his broken neck, fought Basil McRae. Oh, Mark Messier is forced out now. Well, he played as long as he could. Barely got any points. Ian Turnbull has produced 600 points in his career, 2 assists against us. Ian Turnbull is 30 and he is a 3-star player. Tim Kerr extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal and 3 assists against us. And Glenn Anderson is no longer suspended. Alright, so I have to take Mark Messier out. I don't know how his ear cut got worse. Like, what, did half the ear fall on the ice or something? I have no idea. Alright, we're gonna need to recall somebody. And that's somebody more than likely will be... What am I doing? Alright. Yeah, it's probably gonna be Steve Thomas. Alright, Tapio Levo extends his point streak to 12 games. Our former teammate here with a goal against the Oilers. Rigel Ristolainen's assist streak ended at 9 games. Did not get an assist, did get a goal against the Devils. Open ice leads to a productive night for Keith Brown. He had 4 assists against the Pittsburgh Penguins. There was no stopping Peter Lee in Quebec. He had a hat-trick against the Blues. Brian Propp extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal and an assist in that same game. Red light stays on for Mike Fiddler in Winnipeg. He had a hat-trick against Boston. Cicerelli extended with Minnesota, a 3-year extension. André Savard is on the block in Buffalo. Reg Thomas is on the block in Pittsburgh. Denis Héron is on the block in Calgary. Montreal is offering me Dan Newman for Stuart Smith for the 3rd time this stream. Let's see. Am I on meth? No. We're gonna say no. Alright, and the trade deadline is nearing. Woo! Alright, so that's the last game of the stream against the Capitals at home. Capitals are 30, 31, and 2. That's good for 6th in the conference. We are 1-0 against the Washington Capitals this season. Steve Baker is going to be in net for Washington. Jim Martinson in net for the Whalers. And of course, go Whalers, go. And we end the stream with a 4-1 victory at home against the Capitals. We outshot them 31-22. Marian Stashny was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Peter Stashny was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Darren Veitch was the third star with 2 goals. 10,433 people in attendance for the game. Washington opened up the scoring in the first. Then in the second period, Russ Fitzpatrick scored from Marian Stashny and Jay Wells. Then Brent Sutter from Gordy Roberts and Darren Veitch. And then Marian Stashny from Peter Stashny and Darren Veitch. 3-1 Hartford after 2. Then in the third period, Peter Stashny scored in an empty net from Matty Agman and Jay Wells, and that was a 4-1 victory. Nice victory. No further action needed for Chicago's Tom Lysak. Suspension for André Saint-Laurent again with the Kings. He's going to miss 9 games this time. Kent Nilsson extends his point streak to 12 games. He had an assist against the Kings. Tim Kerr extends his goal streak to 6 games. He had a goal and an assist against the Islanders. Tapio Levo extends his point streak to 13 games with an assist against the Canucks. Kings extend Rick Wamsley for 2 years. Mark Osborne has been put on the block by the Quebec Nordiques. Al Angsleben has been put on the block by the Kings. And Philadelphia is shopping Doug Sotart. Right, so we are done in February, but the NHL is not, because it's the 27th. So there's going to be some games here being played. Guy Carbonneau extends in Montreal for 3 years. Cam Connor is on the block. And Winnipeg might be looking to move Dan Maloney. All right, on the block as well. No trades though. Alright, and it is February 28th. I'm gonna advance. Oh, there's a February 29th in that year. Oh, Dan Newman was traded to Edmonton and been put on waivers, so Montreal and Edmonton has made yet another trade with each other. Kent Nilsson extends his point streak to 13 games. He had an assist against the Kings. Tom Hugans is suspended with the Rangers. He's going to miss 6 games. Strong game for Joe Mullen. 4 assists against the Blues. 4 assists against the Minnesota North Stars. Rick Vive comes back from suspension. February scouting. Don't care. Trade rumor. Don Lucic might be leaving Boston. Put on the block. JP Bordelot has been put on the block by the Blackhawks. Bill Clement on the block from the Oilers, and then Sean McKenna and the rights to Bruce Andres were traded to Montreal for Serge Roy and Dan Newman. All right. All right, it is February 29th, so we're gonna go ahead and sim one more day. Oh, Bo Berglund got hurt, and I was not told. A mild shoulder inflammation. It ain't that beautiful. Oh, I'm told now. Alright, so Bo Berglund goes on the injured reserve, and I think I'm gonna... I don't know who I am going to recall. Maybe Bergquist. Is Bergquist good enough? Oh yeah. Jonas Bergquist is being recalled. There you go, buddy. Alright, and we're gonna sim one more day until March 1st. Ooh, that's a lot of news. Alright. Tim Kerr extends his goal streak to 7 games. He had a goal against the Oilers. Tapio Levo extends his point streak to 14 games with 2 goals against the Rangers. Tapio Levo's having quite the season. Mike Eaves extends his point streak to 12 games. He had a goal against the Jets. Rigel Ristolainen extends his point streak to 12 games. He had 2 assists against the Jets as well. The most jerseys sold for February for the Whalers: Mark Messier, Glenn Anderson, Wolf Payment, Paul Coffey, and Peter Stastny. Development report. Man, at this point, I don't know. Oh, Jonas Bergquist got speed. That's good. He got a point of speed. I like that. Dave Poulin also got speed. Right, top selling jerseys for the NHL. Mark Messier was 4th in the league and Glenn Anderson 13th. First place is obviously Wayne Gretzky. Philadelphia might be looking to move André Dupont. Oh, alright. He's been put on the block. Ron Lowe on the block in Quebec. Dave Indmark on the block by the Rangers. And the players of the month were Kent Nilsson and Mike Liut. Alright, so no recognition for us. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and save the game before something terrible happens. Alright, so despite all of the injuries, we are still first in the conference, although the gap tightened a little bit. So we're not that sure to finish first. With all the injuries, it's becoming a little difficult. But we're still winning our share of games. That's the good news. Let's take a look at the standings. Hey, Kim, you're catching me right at the end here. I'm about to wrap it up. Get ready for dinner and stuff. How are you doing? Alright, we're going to check the... Oh yeah, I won the cup last year, but I have so many injuries. It's a little rough this year. Alright, so as it stands, Buffalo is outside of a playoff spot only by a point. Pittsburgh and Devils are in not in it right now. Although the Devils are only 2 point backs on the Rangers with 2 games on. Looks like Pittsburgh is gonna miss the playoffs again. Here we have Chicago that's not there at all, so Chicago's not gonna be in there, and then the poor Kings, like it's they made it to 11 wins. I guess that's something. I suppose that is something. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take a look at our lineup and stats. Now, some players are going to be missing from that because they are on the injured reserve. But Peter Stastny, 91 points in 63 games. So he's picked up the pace. I like that. Dave Poulin is over a point per game as well. I like that. Matty Agman is almost a point per game, 61 and 63. Sutter, 57 and 62. And my best D with Paul Coffey with his fractured skull. That would be Gordy Roberts with 46 points in 56 games. So I'm liking that Russ Fitzpatrick guy that I picked up. Like, I picked him up in a trade, and I mean, he's been contributing. He has 36 points in 46 games. That's not too bad. Especially for... what did I give for you? Oh yeah, I got that Sebek guy that didn't want to sign. Yeah. Yeah, plus I got him for a malcontent, so that's hard to beat. And he's only 23. He might get even a little bit better at this rate since he's playing well. That's what I'm hoping. It rarely works out that way. All right, so yeah, we're gonna take a look in the. I'm gonna take a look in the entire league. So Wayne Gretzky, 62 goals. He's first, but he's trailed by Dino Ciccarelli, who's only 1 goal behind. 61 goals for Kim's favorite, and I also like Dino Ciccarelli a lot. So. Denis Savard is the best passer in the league, 81 assists. That's 7 more than Wayne Gretzky. Overall, Wayne Gretzky is the best player, 136 points at the start of March is pretty good. Ciccarelli has 129, Denis Savard has 106, and then we have a few guys that are just right there hitting at the 100-point season door, but not quite there yet. Peter Stastny is 10th with 91, so that's pretty good. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and save the game, and that's pretty much it for me. Sorry, Kim, you cut me right on my way out. Oh, I did not catch that. That's interesting. Jim Corn. Yeah, that's something. Alright, Kim, I hope you have a great evening. We'll catch up later. That's it for me today. I'm also pretty tired. Fatigue is starting to catch up with me, but anyway, so thank you all for joining in today. If you're catching this on YouTube later, you like the video, you know what to do. But for now, it's ARG out. Peace out, folks. I'll see you all later.